That's what used to get me in trouble in school.
Yeah, we know the troublemaker over here. Krista is a really, really good friend of ours. And as a matter of fact, I met Krista when she called me up and said, I understand from Robert Missione at We Frame It that you teach drawing classes. And I said, I guess I do. And she said, can I come? And then she went to Germany for a year. But when she came back, she called me and said, I'm back. So that's how I got to know Krista. And so anyway, this is so much fun. I'm so excited. Why are we here? Okay. I was teaching a drawing class here, and one of the artists in the group was doing a lovely drawing. And I saw she needed to work in just one area, and I said, this is great, but you need to punch up the value. What do you mean value? She said. After I explained, Robin popped up and said, we need a class on value. And that was such a great idea that Patty and I felt together we could do a workshop on all the elements of art. So we can now point to Robin and say, this is your fault.
It is.
Thank you, Robin. Study, oh, and by the way, I'm about to tell you why we need to know this. Studies have shown that the average person visiting a gallery or an art museum will look at a piece of art for approximately 3 seconds before moving on. 3 seconds. That's it. In an art gallery, museum, 3 seconds. How can we compel a viewer to look at our work? Well, we can ask ourselves what makes us stop and look at a piece of work for longer than 3 seconds. Chances are, if we're standing in front of it, the artist has used the elements and principles of art to intrigue us. We can't look away. So this workshop is being offered because dramatic, beautiful art is everyone's goal. When we fall short of that goal, I do, we need to be able to identify what specifically is lacking. These lists are time-tested, perfect tools for problem solving. They're not just words. They're not just concepts, not abstract mumbo jumbo with hidden meanings, but actual tools, just like a screwdriver, a hammer, a bolt cutter. And when you need a bolt cutter, you need a bolt cutter. So understanding composition sets us free. You're not obligated to use all of the elements or principles. Wait a minute, I got it wrong. Once you know them, you will know when you can ignore them because you use these tools not only to solve problems, but also to have fun thumbing your nose at them. The Impressionists, the Expressionists, the Dadaists, the Cubists, they did that all the time because they knew what they could get away with and still create intriguing work. When I was in college taking art classes, we had to learn the elements and principles of art. I want everybody to stop writing right now. To me, they were just words. Blah, 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 texture.
Can you start that paragraph again because you interrupted the thought?
When I was in college taking art classes, we had to learn the elements and principles of art. They were just words. Words, 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 harmony. So I memorized these lists. Don't do that. This is not a college class. There's no final.
No test.
You will get no degree. And you have a cheat sheet. Patty Dunbar, you got one job.
Don't.
Doctor, nurse, scalpel.
Now
Can you
that,
read that one behind you in the frame? I can't read the whole thing from here.
what does it say?
No, the one on your left, right on your left hand. Turn right around, the one in the frame with the map.
Oh, this one.
What's it say? The artist.
I'll share it with you in just a second once you get your little cheat sheets. Now, before we go on to the little batted thing, everybody's got their cheat sheet. This is your.
We can write on it or whatever.
You can
It's
do
all
whatever
yours.
you want. Take
So
it out of the sleeve, right on the back, scribble out it, tear it up, throw it away.
now I do have to say, Patty and I stopped looking after finding 8 different lists of elements and principles of design/art online. It seems as if each generation since the turn of the 20th century has its own list. Subtle differences, but still. Today, in 2018, the postmodern principles appeared for the digital age. We are not teaching this. Okay, so I'm
It
just
will put you to sleep.
we're not going there. So we decided, Patty and I, all right, out of all of the stuff we're looking at, let's just pull out the ones that are going to be the most valuable to the self-taught artist. And self-taught just simply means you've been cranking out art and you didn't have a college education like I had and everything. And then again, you know, when I was teaching art and I was teaching drawing, I didn't teach this stuff to people because I'm thinking, how is that possibly going to help them? And then I realized that how it helps more than anything is the language. It's the problem solving. It's having this and having the language and having your cheat sheet when things are not working for you. I mean, we know when our stuff is good. We look at it and we go, God, that just turned out so good. But if it didn't, now what? So that's the purpose of this workshop, is just for tools. And so there's no hard and fast rules in art. There are 2 rules for this workshop. No bullying allowed, especially self-bullying. Now, the bully artist, I have to do it perfectly in the right order, better than anyone, or I'm a failure as an artist. Bam! Not today, not in this workshop, because that's not the kind of exercises we're doing. Second rule, no critiquing your own work or someone else's. Critique, in my head, means criticize. So we're going to use the word evaluate. We're not critiquing anyone else's work, we're critiquing our own. So then, Patty, Phil, Sherry Herrick, and I have contributed some of our work that could be improved by using the elements and principles of art. So we're going today to evaluate our own stuff so that you can see the problem solving in action. So I mean, that's where this really comes in handy, is seeing how we can just literally go down the list and look at our own stuff. So the elements of art are pretty straightforward. Line is line, shape is shape. But when you use those elements together, you can create movement. Down here. If you use line repetitiously, you create rhythm. If you use space and form, you create harmony and contrast. And this is why the principles of art seem fluid, because you create this using all of these elements in infinite combinations. Does anyone watch Doctor Who?
Yeah.
Anybody? So think of the principles of art as being kind of spacey-wacy, timey-wimey. Okay? Got it? I mean, they're fluid. You're going to make movement and harmony and balance in your work using all of this stuff. Now, just for a couple of minutes, I'm going to climb on my favorite soapbox. This is me climbing on my soapbox. I'm out of collar. Since Patty and I are doing this workshop together, I did ask permission, and she said I could. Arguably, some critics believe that Vincent van Gogh is one of the greatest painters of all time. We may not agree with that, but what we do agree on is that he was never in his lifetime a professional artist. He couldn't sell a painting for a meal. So why did he keep painting? For the love of it. And what do we call a painter who paints just for the love of it? An amateur, from the Latin word amor, to love. Paul Gauguin, one of the greats of the Impressionist movement, was an accountant, a Sunday painter, who eventually left his family and his job and lived out his life in poverty because he couldn't sell his work. But he kept on painting. Why? If he couldn't support himself, why did he do it? It was his passion. Because we do anything solely for the love of it doesn't mean it has no value. We need to stop thinking our only validation as an artist is how much we sell. Successful sales means excellent marketing skills, not necessarily wonderful art. We need to value ourselves and our work. I mean, you wouldn't be here if you were a serious artist trying to master your craft. You've paid money, you've committed time, because creating art means something to you, and it means something to us too, me and Patty. So I'm done now, I'm getting off my soapbox, and I'm gonna do what Patty said and redefine what you already know, because you all are already making art, you're already artists. I'm not teaching you how to make art, just tools.